Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is all of the cosmos is in the balance process. And today we have Mercury shifting out of Libra into Scorpio, and this is definitely going to be interesting. So you may have already seen with Jupiter already in Scorpio, there are some shadow energies being highlighted. It's interesting. I usually get to go about skating, pretty free and happy in rainbow unicorn land, at least when it comes to my astrology work. And just this week, just right before I recorded this horoscope, in fact, I just saw another. I've been getting attacked. There's been some attacks out there. About my work and what I put out there. And, I defended myself to one and the other I was like, report block, like, done. Because there's a time to stand up and defend and there's a time to be like, not even going to go there. But you may have seen, and you may and will continue to see that there is some shadows, some shadow energy that's surfacing. And sometimes shadow energy can lash out at light energy. And I believe that Mercury in Scorpio may bring some vocalization to part of this process. Now, Scorpio, let's not give Scorpio a bad rap, because Scorpio really can contain the energies of the lightest light and the darkest darks. And it is the process of balance that brings them both out. And it is in all of the cosmos, the process of us finding our balance. Those shadow things, those people who are coming out and saying these things, it needs to be processed just as much as the light. Withholding it, not bringing it up, is still poisonous to society. It's still poisonous to the self. And that energy, even in somebody, aiming at somebody else, even without being verbalized, can still be poisonous. So we do not want, to throw a rug or anything over these energies, but we do have to be vigilant that this energy is coming up. And I do feel that we have to be vigilant in processing our own shadows and vigilant in maintaining the processes that keep our personal light energy very strong in and of this, because it's gonna happen. And here we are. How are we gonna face this? How are we gonna show up for this? How are we gonna take our responsibility in and of this? Now, another thing, I love my Danielle Laporte journal. I write in this every day, and it has a part that asks you, what do you want to change? I think that's what it is. Or stop doing. Oh, good. And I opened right up to today's. Before I even looked at the astro, I wrote down in the stop doing part, no makes way for yes. I wrote down, don't let fear take the mind's reins. And then when I looked at the astro today, I'm like, oh, of course, Mercury into Scorpio. Mentally, we will be connecting to shadows. Mentally, we could give the mind's reins over to the shadow, over to the fears. Or we can recognize that over this next process of the next few weeks. I don't actually know how long. I didn't write that down. Let's see. From Mimi's cheat sheet. When is Mercury? Mercury's moving in to Sagittarius on November 5th. So, about 3 weeks. So in a process of about 3 weeks, we're going to process all of the Scorpio degrees, but you may have to face your fears. And that's actually the first thing I did this morning, was wake up and had a bombardment of mental energy going on. And I was like, okay, let's look at these things. Let's look at these things from a place of love. Do any of these things actually make sense? Or are these, are these some fear energies? Are these some shadow energies that I need to look up? And when I started shifting them, it shifted and it changed my energy for today, and hopefully, continues me through this Scorpio energy. But this is something that we can all do. You are in charge of where you go with your mind. This is part of the energy of empowerment. is recognizing your personal responsibility. How are you showing up? That's what power is that you are in full responsibility of yourself. So with Mercury in Scorpio, take responsibility. Be empowered when it comes to your thoughts, when it comes to your communications. Even be empowered when it comes to picking and choosing which communications you are going to engage with that do bring up the shadow. Because like I said, there are going to be times when there will be engagement necessary, and then there will be times where it's like, and this will go nowhere. So blessings, peace, go process your stuff over there and leave me out of it. So be very vigilant of that with Mercury moving into Scorpio. And that shift is happening fairly early on in the day. It is happening very early on in the day. It's actually happening at 12:38 p.m. Pacific time. And I don't actually have this chart up. I have the chart up for the new moon. I do believe by like late in the day, we actually will even have Mercury shifting from 0 degrees to 1 degree. So, you know, communications may be a little wonky initially for a little while, but as Mercury starts speedily moving on with the process, they'll shift fairly fast, fairly early on. Now, another thing that I want to address, speaking of shadows and light and all of this stuff, we have a lot of Mars and Venus stuff going on. So we have Mars. Mars is finishing up in Virgo over the next few days. And Mars finishing up in Virgo is connecting to Uranus and the moon. We also have the moon finishing up in Virgo. So we've been talking about Mars healing. Mars just moved from an opposition to Chiron. Young healing in how we stand up for ourselves, which has been part of my process because it's really easy for me to ignore. It's actually harder for me to like combat and be like, hey, I'm going to stand up for myself. So my young has been receiving healing. I have been showing up and standing up for myself in that way. Now, Mars in conjunct Uranus is very interesting. Uranus is at the degree that it's going to oppose the new moon at. So there is some revelations, some seeds that will come of this integration. My feeling is with this in conjunction with Mars and Uranus is that there may be some kind of triggery or breakthrough event that helps you take you into another level of you showing up for yourself. Remember, Uranus in Aries is representing the I am vibration and helping liberate the I am vibration. Mars in Virgo is helping us take action in our reality, taking action in taking good care of our physical body, but this may also be showing up for ourselves in a new way, in that young energy, passionate, engaged, and ready to take action. But I do feel like you'll understand this a little better in a few days with the new moon. I think that there might be a little event that happens now to help bring the young into another level of balance, to help, I don't know, I do not have this card, but I wish I did. Thinking of the Rebel card, you know, where the king or the emperor, he's breaking through that chains. I think that there might be a moment that can spur you to the energy of breaking through those chains, but you may not understand it until that new moon hits, and the sun will be like, yes, that was a liberation. Alleluia. And it's part of this healing that's going on. The moon conjunct Mars as well today is also feeding into that energy. Notice how you are being asked to show up and take action, stand up for yourself, possibly even show up for your own yin vibration in your day-to-day. Let's see. Moon will then shift into Libra. So we are in the dark of the moon. Speaking of shadows, in the dark of the moon. Stuff is coming up. Stuff is coming up that shows us where we are not in balance, where we're not in harmony. And it's very interesting. I do have these three cards. I have the harmony card, I have the dream card, and then I have the mask card, the politics card. And so there may be some area within our own personal union within where we're still wearing a mask. It may be a hero mask. It's like, this is who I want to be, so I'm going to put on my Superman mask. Not that Superman ever wore a mask. So my Batman mask so that I can show up this way. You don't need to wear a mask to show up in the way that you need to be, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that somebody will understand that. You don't have to wear a mask. All you have to do is show up as you. This isn't Gotham City. You don't have to protect your identity. You can be you. But that feeling that you need to protect yourself, that feeling that you need to hide yourself, it's part of what's keeping you not quite in that balance, not quite in that harmony, not quite in that union when it comes to yourself. So today, and building through this new moon energy on Thursday, is a great time to let any of those places where you're still hiding or wearing that mask, letting them come up. Now, I love that the moon is going to conjunct Venus. So I said there's Mars and Venus energy feeding in. So the moon was with Mars earlier, and then the moon's going to be with Venus. This connection with Venus is at 4 degrees. That is evolution, revolution. That is shift. So here it is, more liberation. The liberation this time is for the yin. So this may be, I was actually talking about this with somebody the other day. You know, a lot of us, from the time we're little, tend to hide our intuitive superpowers, or our feeling superpowers, or our sensitivity superpowers. And it may be that something like that comes up and shows you, oh, it's okay to feel. Oh, it's okay to be intuitive. It's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to be empathetic. It's okay to attend to somebody's needs. You may have something like that come up and help break you through. Divine, masculine, feminine, the yin and the yang energies, balance, it is in everything, and it is part of the whole. Balance is part of what all of the cosmos is going through. I'm going to address one last little thing before I get to the other cards. It's interesting. Right before I did this horoscope, I also saw a thing where somebody mentioned that Mars and Venus hate each other. And I was like, man, I really don't think that anything in the universe really hates each other. I think in our universe, everything in here inherently, on a soul level, soul and spirit level, knows that it's all working together. And we may have things that we really don't like. And there may be situations and people and planetary energies and all kinds of things that we really don't like. Our ego is like, no to that. No, thank you. And yet, this is one thing. And this one thing is striving for balance. And everything that's happening is an act of trying to get us into balance. So just remember that. Remember that with all these shadow things coming up, as you address them and as you face your own perceptions, feelings, experiences around any of these things, remember that Mars and Venus don't hate each other. You and this other don't hate each other. There's a part of you that knows it's working together. That doesn't mean you subject yourself to it if it is damaging or abusive. You know, like I said, there's a time to be like, block, no, thank you. But just recognize that on the level that all of the cosmos is working to try to balance this out. I'm just saying for our universe. I don't know about other universes. I think that this is like galactically true. But I don't know. But I do feel for our universe, this is true. But where we have to start it is in ourselves. And like I said, these shadows are going to be surfacing. The fears may come up with it. Projections, protections, suspicions, suspicious minds. Mercury and Scorpio can very much be suspicious minds. But that, again, is pointing you to your own shadows and your own things that you have to deal with within yourself. So these two cards before I get into my powerful woman cards. Playfulness and intensity. Yes, this is the process. Intensity. I had these cards for somebody else the other day. I love this in a reading. It was like, yes, this process is going to be intense. Do not forsake your playfulness. Take your joy with you. Remember all that Leo energy that we worked with? Really leading with our joy? Take your joy with you. Remember the light. As we face any shadows, it is so important that we have this strong, balanced foundation of our light to help us lift ourselves out of the muck. There's muck for everybody. Everybody has the muck. But that light can help us lift us out of the muck and bring us back into balance, as long as we're not wearing those superhero masks that we really don't have to wear. Reminds me of that song. I'm all over the place today. I want something just like this. Check out the lyrics, because it's like, I don't need you to be a superhero. Just be you. Yes. Okay. So as I was shuffling the Soulful Woman cards, embracing change came up. Embracing change. This is part of being empowered, is not being afraid of change, but embracing it and stepping up and taking your steps moment by moment as you are meant to. So embracing changes. With every loss, I understand that something new is about to be birthed beyond what I can imagine. And then the card I actually pulled is the appreciation card. And it says, appreciating the good that exists in my here and now expands my awareness to all that is good in the universe. All that is good in the universe. Highlighting the light, because the light is very important to keep a grip on the light, even as we face the intensity. There's so much intensity in everything coming up right now. Appreciation. There's also a lot of good that's coming up right now. So much good that's coming up. So much good that's coming up right now. And there is enough love in the world for you. So that is it for today. Book a reading if you want to dive deeper into your personal chart. I have my changes reading going on. It is at a sale price now, but that will go up because, wow, it's a lot of shift. And though I did a few of those, and they've been really, really, really long readings and going in depth about what these changes, embracing change, what these changes are. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.